Hey guys, it's DYF with a overview video kind of the 3DS. Okay, so to talk about the 3D, I'm actually going to be using the 3D Classics Excite Bike, which is a game that's free on the eShop. So since I obviously can't show you the 3D directly using this camera, a way to showing it is this game, because this is it in 2D right now, and when you put it in 3D, they kind of like add that extra layer, because if I had to describe the 3D effect, I'd say it's like kind of looking out a window. Obviously different games use the effects differently, but like generally I'd say it's like looking out a window. I mean, the 3D is very cool, but it's not I don't know, I wouldn't call it the main thing about the system. Obviously it's the system's namesake, but what you mainly care about is the library of games for it, and so far they're not great. Okay, so the launch games aren't exactly great for the 3DS, but they never really are. So far the library isn't that good, but they do have lots of promising games coming up. Whether it can top the original DS's library though, I'm not so sure about. I mean, what we've got coming up is we've got Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, and a new Paper Mario game, Metal Gear Solid 3D, new Resident Evil game. You know, there is like lots of games coming out for it. If the game library will top the DS's, I'm not so sure about. Okay, so as for the games themselves, the launch games aren't great, but I'm sure there's lots of great games coming. I mean, we already know that, Luigi's Mansion 2 and stuff. And they also have the Virtual Console and like the whole eShop lineup, and I'll show you some Virtual Console things in a minute. But this is a kind of free app you get, the Pokédex 3D, which includes Pokemon from Black and White, and includes like detailed stats about them, including like what levels they learn, attacks and stuff. You know, it's nothing amazing, but it's pretty cool, and I hope more like free apps like this come out for the eShop. Okay, so this is a Virtual Console game. This is obviously Super Mario Land. The Virtual Console on this, it's pretty cool. You can, this is in green and black at the moment, and switch it to black and white, so just, you know, like you could on the Game Boy Color. And one thing they've also done is, they've added save states and a save anywhere feature. So like, if I just go off this game now, I'll close it down. And I launch the game up again. I'll be exactly where I was. And they also have a save state thing, like I just said, so if I make a save state, what I do on the bottom, just create a restore point. Okay, and then now, if I just kill myself, I can be really, really cheap and say, no, that never happened. I can load the save state, like so, and then I'm back as I was. So yeah, the games themselves, you know, perfectly good ports of the originals. I think this VC is a bit better than the Wii simply because it's portable. And I don't know, so far they've put Game Boy and Game Boy Color games up there, and apparently we'll be getting Sega Game Gear games later, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so as many of you will be aware, the 3DS has two outward-facing cameras which allows you to take 3D photos. The photos look pretty cool, but the quality isn't great, so it's fun for a bit, but it's not really what you want to be using as your regular camera. There's much better cameras out there. Now, with a few exceptions, you can get like the entire DSiWare library on here. So this is an imported DSiWare game from my original DSi, and you know, the games work fine on here because the 3DS is also backwards compatible with all DS games, and you can choose to play them in widescreen or not. As you can see, there's borders here with the screen, and you can also play them so it fills the screen, but they're a bit stretched, so I prefer to just play it with the borders. It doesn't bother me. It's just like playing it on a DSi. So yeah, these games work perfectly normally. It's pretty cool that they brought the entire library over. Like I said, with a few exceptions. But you can't get R4 in Gym, and that's probably the only decent one. I think that wasn't imported over. Now, one thing I think that's pretty awesome, I mean, this is probably just me, one thing I think that's pretty awesome about the 3DS is the activity log. And this lets you track all of your game times. For example, if I click Rayman 3D here, it says your total time played, number of times played, and then the average. And then you can also bring up a chart, which will show you, like, in order, your most played games. So my most played game on the 3DS is Link's Awakening at 19 hours. Yeah, so I don't know, this is a pretty cool thing, because I like to know how much playtime I'm getting out from the games. And also Steam does this, so I think it's cool that they're doing this, and I hope all consoles in the future have this as standard. Okay, now, one thing that's obvious about the 3DS is the graphical power of it. Again, my camera doesn't show up perfectly, but the graphics on this thing are a lot better than the DS's. In fact, they're like infinitely times better. As you can kind of see from this gameplay, the DS clearly couldn't do this. And if you have a look at games like Metal Gear Solid or Resident Evil, you can see like the 3DS can do really nice graphics. Now, another cool thing about the 3DS is you can just pause your game by pressing the home button down here. And then the game the 3DS kind of has a multi application like OS. So I can't have Ridge Racer open at the same time as, let's say, Link's Awakening. If I open this up, it will close down Ridge Racer. But what you can do is you can go on the internet browser at the same time as leaving the game open. So I could search Seals into here. Okay, so here I have the Wikipedia page on Seals up. So the internet browser on this thing, it's not great. I don't know, it's passable, like, it's pretty good for game FAQs, which is probably what they have this multi-user thing for. So now, as I was saying, let's say, I have this Wikipedia page of Seals up. I can close it down, and I can just go right back to playing Ridge Racer. Tune it, and there we go, I'm still there. So yeah, I can imagine that this is useful if you want to have an FAQ up for a game, because you can just open back on the internet browser and I'll be exactly as it was with my Seal up. If I just close this down, and yeah, there we go. So no, it's a pretty cool feature. It's not like groundbreaking, but yeah. Okay, so one thing that really is quite annoying about the 3D is you have to be looking at it at the right angle for it to properly work. Of course, that's the thing about having 3D without glasses. The glasses are so that you can see it from multiple angles. Without having glasses, you have to kind of be looking at it directly on, and if you're looking at it directly on, it looks great. But if you tilt it to the side slightly, the effect just completely goes away. So you have to be looking at the right angle, and it's not a big deal because you're not exactly going to be moving around a lot when you're playing the games, and it's not that precise on how you have to look at it, but it is still slightly annoying if you're on I don't know, a bumpy bus or something. But if you're on a bumpy bus ride, why would you be playing DS anyway? You get silly. Okay, one thing most people are aware of, well, I just haven't mentioned it yet, is the top screen is 3D and the bottom screen is a touch screen. The bottom screen is not 3D, the top screen is not a touch screen, but I'm sure everyone already knew that. Anyway, here I'm going to talk about the kind of device itself, buttons and how layout and such. So the top screen is a widescreen, which is quite nice. The analog slider here, this thing is great. I think this thing is just as good as any analog stick. It just works just as well as any other one. It's really good. And it's very good if you for games like Rayman 3D and stuff like that, or any platform really, so it'll be good for the upcoming Mario game and such. The analog slider is compatible with old DS games, which makes moving diagonally a lot easier, but you can still use the D-pad, and some people think the D-pad is placed a little too far down. It never really bothered me. What did bother me is the placement of start and select. I don't know why they're here, it's not a very good place to put them, I don't think, and also they don't feel very nice. Every other button on the 3DS feels really good, really sturdy, really nice. Start and select buttons and home button just aren't great. One thing that's also annoying, and I'm sorry for the crap lighting, I have to have a lamp right here for you to be able to even see it. One thing that's also annoying is the where they place the stylus. Now, on the original DS, the stylus was placed here. Then on the DS Lite, they placed the stylus at the side here, and they kept that for the DSi. I don't know why they moved the stylus back to being here, because let me show you the stylus. It's this like it when it's shortened, and then you can pull it out or erect it, and it's this long, which is quite a nice length. But you have it in at the back, and you can't really quickly access it that easily, because you have to pull it out, which isn't that easy when you're playing in the middle of a game. So you have to pull it out and extend it, and then you use it for a bit, and then you'll put it back in, and I don't know, well, I guess you wouldn't need to put it back in right away, but it's just, I don't know why they didn't just put it in at the side. And the extended stylus is cool, but they should have just kept it at the side. So overall, it's a great system. I think it is a bit pricey at £180 or $250. I'm not sure how many euros it costs or any other currency, but I'd say that it is worth it because the library of games is definitely going to extend, but maybe we should wait a bit until more games come out for it. But overall, I think this has the potential to be just as good, if not better, than the original DS. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you for my next video.